AskReddit. AskReddit. 911 operators of Reddit, what call will you simply never forget? I'm sure plenty of other people will have crazier ones, but the first time I took an overdose call, it's a crazy experience literally hearing someone dying on the other side of the phone. It was sort of a mix of gurgling, screaming, and gasping for air. Fortunately, the friend of the person that was odding was the one who called, so I could actually get some information to pass along to my officers/firefighters. Unfortunately, the caller was also super high and freaking out, understandably, and decided to lie about what drugs his friend was on, which slightly delayed Narcan being administered. Not to the point that it mattered, but it did delay it. The person that outlived. I've posted this before on Reddit. I work as a paramedic in a big city. When I was an EMT, I got a call for an unknown condition. We arrive and find a woman beating on a set of giant oak doors in a huge building that looks vaguely governmental 5-floor building. Big columns, all the architectural details you would expect at a state house. She reports this is a Freemason lodge and her boyfriend is the custodian. She knows he is still inside because the lights are on in the entryway, but says he texted her 2 hours ago complaining of chest pain and shortness of breath and now he isn't answering his phone. Cool. He's dead. My partner and I think to ourselves, unfortunately we lack the resources to break into this fucking fortress of a building. We call for firefighters. They arrive and it takes them at least 10 minutes of chopping/kicking/smashing to open the giant 12 feet tall oak doors to this place. Once we make entry, shit gets real Scooby-Doo real quick. The design of a Freemason temple is generally but it gets weirder the higher you go. The first floor looks like a museum. Lots of marble, no visible light switches. We all break out flashlights. Can't find a light switch to save our lives. We make our way up to the second and third floor. By the fourth floor it's straight up Resident Evil 4. Super creepy. There are altars and shit. We are expecting supernatural combat around every corner. Eventually we reach the top floor. We notice a long hallway with a closed door at the end. Behind the door the light is on. Me, my partner and the fire lieutenant all begin making arguments of why one of the other two should breach the door. Eventually we settle on all three of us opening the door at once. We knock. Nothing. We resign ourselves to being eaten by ghosts. 1, 2, 3. We burst through the door and are met with an image I will remember until the day I die. Dude jumps up from behind a desk simultaneously ripping off headphones and pulling up pants to cover his fully erect cock. Dude was masturbating and didn't hear us because he had noise cancellation headphones on. We confirm he is okay. Apparently he had texted her that he felt sick from getting questionable taco truck as dinner. We make for the exit. As we leave we overhear him and his girlfriend arguing about how we got in and who would pay for the door damage. Not us. 112 from Europe. Hope it counts. Woman called that her father sent her SMS that he's going to kill himself by jumping under train. That wasn't too bad for me. Things like that happens every now and then. The scary part was the way she said in about half an hour there is a train going through our village. She tried very hard not to cry while talking to me, but this was the part she broke down, as if she realized they have less than 30 minutes to find him, or he's dead. The man was found on train station, drunk and depressed, sitting on a bench. My friend had a call from a guy that was crushed by collapsed scaffolding. He was talking to him the whole time until he died before the ambulance came. The operator is a tough guy, ex-cop, but I've never seen him that broken before. We only got to know what happened like a week later. From the funny ones, yesterday I had a call from the Queen of Hamsters, who complained that hackers cut her internet connection because she do not like one of our politicians. I have been doing this more than a decade and have taken some absolutely nutty calls. The one that stands out is not, but it stays with me. I took a 911 from a woman who asked me for an ambulance. Dead voice, no emotion. She could have been calling the bank for their hours. I got and confirmed her address. Again, very calm. Then I asked her what was going on. In that same lifeless voice she said, "My son is dead." There was no change in her tone whatsoever. I asked her if she was sure, asked her to start CPR, which she flatly refused. I asked her, "Please, let's at least try CPR," and she said, "He is cold and dead, and it's my fault. My fault. My fault." Her tone never changed. Turns out she had caught her 15-year-old son doing AskReddit. He puked at some point. She was totally clueless and just sent his ass to bed. Sometime during the night he either took more, or what he had taken caused him to vomit again, and he choked to death. I will never forget that dead tone she had, because in a way she was right. Her ignorance did contribute to his death, but she is not even partially to blame. Try telling her that though. That woman will never stop hating herself. I feel for her to this day, and that was 2009-ish. Not me, but our fire department captain works as a 911 operator in our country. Had a call 2 months ago. It was someone's daughter calling. She was calm as nothing happened and described exactly what happened. Basically she killed her mother while they were arguing. No remorse, sadness or anything. She told him that she probably killed her mother because she choked her too much, and the poor old lady stopped breathing. Cops and ambulance went to the house, and she was waiting for them like nothing happened. If I remember correctly, daughter got 7 or 8 years in jail. Edit, got 1 more from a family member who is a cop. They went on a call for a possible death in the apartment, so firefighters were also called. Address was actually a block of flats, and they saw one wide open door on the floor where victim should be living. Lo and behold, when they entered the apartment there was a man hanging from ceiling, and he set up a tripod on the table and live streamed everything on Facebook. Some family members arrived shortly after police, and they confirmed that the video was indeed live. I'm an ASL interpreter and we have to interpret 911 calls on occasion. Won't ever forget my first 911 call ever. It was a SIDS call, mother holding her dead child in a pure panic. We use video phones obviously, so that image is burnt into my head. Working in public safety, I was required to work a certain amount of hours in dispatch. The one that I'll never forget was actually a non-emergency line. It was a woman being beat with a sledgehammer by her ex-boyfriend. It's a distinct sound. He was legit trying to kill her. I honestly had trouble answering phones with cords for a moment, because I expected to hear her screaming. She got banged up pretty good, but she lived. Not an operator, but an ambulance officer. We got called at 11 at night to an assault. Minimal details, just informed that there was a woman screaming for help. We arrive. About 5 police cars are driving away. In the middle of the road is a sergeant with an eerily large grin on his face. He says, "Turns out it wasn't an assault, but have you ever been to an exorcism before?" And that's how I attended my first and last exorcism. There's more to it. I'll add more if this gets attention. Not me, but an old roommate of mine told me this story. When she was an operator about 3 years ago, a boy about 5 or 6 years old called 911 and said dad is holding a gun to mommy's head. Through the phone, she could hear the father screaming at his wife and threatening to kill the kid. My roommate told the kid to go hide and had to talk him through it, even when she heard gunshots. When the police and ambulances arrived, the mom had been fatally shot, but they were able to save the kid before he was shot. Not a 911 operator, but am a cop and likewise am friends with lots of dispatchers / 911 operators. It's not really a call, but our department has lost one officer in our 113 years of service to a roadside shooting on a traffic stop. I wasn't on that shift, but they all tell me that that call is the one that still haunts them to this day, because the officer hit the emergency button on his radio that automatically sends his location and transmits everything for the next 10 seconds. He didn't even get to yell out shots fired or anything. It was just emergency button, and then I'm hit. I'm dying. I'm really dying. I love all of you, and hard breathing. He didn't transmit anything else after that, and by the time my friends got to him, he was already gone. Shot for no reason. Guy he was out with had no warrants, no serious criminal history, nothing. The call was, by all means, a routine traffic stop until the guy suddenly yanked a gun out on the officer's approach back to the car. My aunt is a dispatcher for a small county in Arkansas. She got a call one night from a woman who was hiding in the bedroom closet. Apparently these two men broke into her house and were rummaging through her belongings. She told my aunt said that she had a gun and if they made it up the stairs she was going to go out and shoot them. My aunt tried to calm down telling her police were only about a minute away. No faster did she say that the lady said oh my god her. That come the phone dropped and then 6 gunshots followed afterwards. The lady picked up the phone now in a panic screaming and yelling. Thankfully police got there not long after. Lady never got charged with anything. One of the suspects died, the other one survived.